introducing the 15th seeded.
It is March in Catamount country, and for the second time in 3 years, the UVM women's hoop squad is going dancing. Welcome into the March edition of Catamount Corner.
Yeah, we've got a packed show for you tonight. We will break down the winter sports season that was here in Burlington, and then we will turn our attention towards spring. But we're kicking things off tonight, of course, with the women's basketball team. Yeah,
big March Madness matchup looming for the Cats, but they certainly had to earn their spot. Vermont earning the 2 seed in this year's America East tournament, so they knew they would be at home for at least the first 2 rounds of that tournament. And boy, do they love Patrick Gym hosting UMBC for the second time in 6 days in that quarterfinal round. Cats struggled to find their footing a little bit. Vermont trailed the Retrievers after 1 and led by just 3 points midway through the third. But UVM found their rhythm in a major way after that. The Cats outscoring UMBC 38-10 the rest of the way. Nicola Prieta led UVM with 19 in what would turn out to be a trend, but Bellavito and Kira Hansen had 18 and 17 respectively as well.
Semifinal a little bit closer, but honestly not by much. UVM storming out to a double-digit first-quarter lead on the Bryant team that had beat them at Smithfield, Rhode Island just a few weeks earlier, and they simply never let the Bulldogs back into the game. Kat Gilby was the star, especially in the early going, finishing with 16 points, and Vermont led by as many as 28 before Coach Kresge called off the Dogs, and UVM coasted to a 62-45 win.
But if the Cats wanted to punch their ticket to March Madness, they would have to get it done on the road. Back at the Broadview Center in Albany, where Vermont opened conference play with a loss, the Cats were determined. Back and forth. First half found Vermont in Albany even at 28 after 20 minutes, but even then, the signs were there that the Cats were about to take this game over. UVM held the Danes to just 4 points in the third quarter, and after Albany trimmed their 9-point deficit to 4 in the fourth, Prieta and Kira Hansen contributed a couple of huge buckets before Vermont salted this game away at the free throw line. In the end, a 62-55 victory would send the Cats back to March Madness for the second time in 3 years, with Prieta earning most outstanding player honors after her 20-point performance in the final.
We talk a lot about controlling what we can control, who we are, what we want to handle, how we want to run our business. But the underdog conversation didn't happen at all. We want to play like underdogs always. Like that should be your mentality every time. But you got to think like a champion. And I think today was a team that felt like we had a chance and to play with this mentality that we are champions instead of playing like scared of things. And this year when we played scared or scared to win a game is when we got ourselves in trouble. So these were things we've talked about all season, and it might have been even in a quarter when we were afraid to go make plays. And so I think those things our players really took to heart today, and they came in with a mentality that we belong. We know they're really, really good, and we're going to give them the utmost respect, because if you don't, they're going to go drop 40 on us in the first half. But we can't play afraid.
And when the Cats heard their name called on Selection Sunday, they heard it nice and early. The 15th seed in the top left region of the bracket paired with NC State. A nice change of pace from 2 years ago when the Cats were actually one of the last teams called on Selection Sunday when they faced UConn. Vermont was in the first quadrant announced this past Sunday. The Wolfpack regular season champs of the ACC, fresh off a Final Four appearance just last season, making their 8th consecutive tournament appearance under head coach Wes Moore. Here's a quick look at their corner of the Spokane region, the first region of Spokane. Michigan State and Harvard, the other 2 teams playing in Raleigh. The top overall seed, UCLA, is the 1 seed in this quadrant as well.